Prologue. Kosovo, 1998. Jakob sits with his legs crossed, cigar smoke leaking from his pencil-thin lips as he howls, "We cannot fold! The KLA will win this war in the end. It has to!" His voice reverberates through the home like thunder. My hands clutch themselves together like magnets. The top of my wooden staircase has a direct view of the living room. Hiding behind a large green plant Mother recently brought inside, I watch the conversation unfold. My father leans forward in his chair. "Serb police need to all be gunned down, once and for all. Over 30 of our children were killed this week, in the streets. They're animals, Jakob. We need independence. We need freedom. These atrocities cannot stand." Father's voice shakes with emotion. "But when will the U.S. intervene? All they talk about is Monica Lewinsky. And meanwhile the stakes here," he points to the ground with a firm finger, "are rising." I shift. The words children, gunned, killed, bang against my head. Father must hear my stressful thoughts, because he calls up, "Elira, come down, now." Mother told me to stay upstairs today. "You're only 10, she said. "Your place is by my side." But Mother is not home. She's at the market, gathering food with my older brother, Agran. And as Father always says, I'm his right hand when Mama isn't home. Step by step, I move downstairs. Nerves envelop me, but thankfully my legs do as they're told. Over the last 3 months, men have been coming and going from our home, using our farm to train. We've been cooking the biggest meals. "Like there's a party every day," Mama said. We're freedom fighters and members of the KLA, the Kosovo Liberation Army. My father, along with Jakob, are the 2 main party leaders. Albanians in Kosovo want to be free from Serbian rule. We want to govern ourselves. And my papa is going to bring us there.
"Jakob, this is my daughter, Elira."
I sit on the chair beside his, sitting tall and strong, just like he taught me. Rubbing my back with his warm hand, his touch says, "Don't be nervous." I turn to him and nod. I'm not scared. Jakob puts out a hand and I do the same, hoping I look adult. He laughs.
"I can see it in your eyes. You're smart. You'll go places one day, and your father and I will clear the path for—"
The front door is kicked open. Gunfire. I turn my head to hide in my father's chest, but he throws me beneath the table. I curl up by a wooden leg, ducking my head low. Shots ring loud. Stomping and then yelling come from the kitchen, too. There's a war in the house. Can they see me? Will they get me? My entire body shakes. Do I stay or do I run? Suddenly a hand grabs my leg like a vice, dragging me out from beneath my wooden cave. I want to scream and kick, but nothing comes from my mouth. My legs are lead. My voice is gone. It's vanished. I'm forced to stand when a gun is brought to my temple. It's hard and cold. Wetness leaks beneath the pink flowery dress my mama sewed last week, dripping down my leg like a broken faucet. Suddenly, Mama is before me. My father is lying on the floor, his head shattered. My brain turns to chaos and buzzes with light. Something within me floats from my chest. Has God come to take my soul? The gun is pressed harder against my head. He's screaming, "Where are the men hiding, Blerina?" She doesn't reply, sweat soaking the front of her black hair. He chuckles darkly.
"Tell me, or I'll blow your daughter to bits."
Her mouth opens and shuts before her green eyes turn resolute. She stands taller, steadfast in her beliefs. My throat stings because my mind knows. The most important men in the resistance meet and train here. Their deaths could mean the end of our freedom, which everyone tells me is more important than the lives we've lost. She will never fold. My heart sinks. knowing my end is here and now. Children in the streets, children in the streets. My body will be among them. Boom! My mother screams. I'm on the ground with a huge man on top of me, blood and bone against my skin. From the corner of my eye, I see Nico, huge and looming, shooting his gun. Boom! 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 I don't take a breath as the chaos re-erupts around me. Silence and stench. The room spins. I'm nailed onto the floor, something unmovable crushing me under. Mama is down on her haunches, pushing the weight off my body and lifting me in her strong arms. Am I a corpse, watching from above? Her tears drip onto my face, telling me I'm alive. Methodically, she turns on the bath before stripping me of my dress and underwear. I put my thumb in my mouth, a soothing habit I broke years ago. She places me in the bath and scrubs my skin until it's raw. I don't dare move. The steam tells me the water is hot, but I can barely feel it. After a few minutes, she pulls me out, wrapping me in my towel, still damp from last night. Pink pajamas are slipped over my head. It's still morning, but we continue our nightly rituals until I'm tucked into bed. Now, don't move, Aira. Rest until I return. Don't leave me! I finally cry as she reaches the door. My voice is loud, but it doesn't sound like mine. It's rough and too high-pitched. Her eyes widen, like I just made a big mistake. I cover my lips with my hands. Did the Serbs hear me? Are they back? Before she can exit, my door swings open, and my mouth poises to scream. It's Nico, taking up my entire doorway. I'll stay with her, Blerina. Mama trembles, folding herself into her own arms. He's 18, but much bigger than she is. Nico is the biggest. Naberjan is next on the Serb radar. This wasn't just a single hit, but the start of terror in our village. He folds his heavy arms across his chest. A gun hangs around his waist, and I know there's a knife on him, too. I hold my breath, listening. I will find arrangements for you to take Aira and Agran out as soon as possible. Your work is done. His voice is measured as he gives his decree. But don't argue with me. It's for your safety. He cracks his knuckles. Bring Aira tea. Now. She nods in obedience. Father always said Nico is young, but brighter and crueler than the rest. When Nico speaks, everyone listens and follows his orders. He fights for our freedom like the other men, but he is different, too. He's unlike the others in the way he carries himself, with so much strength and determination. Nothing can get in his way. Mama's pale lips quiver, like she wants to say more. She leaves. He comes next to me when I ask, Why is Shika going down? My voice is a whisper as I clutch onto him. His white shirt is damp. Instinctively, I tuck my head into his chest. It's instant relief. He pulls me closer, allowing me to take him in. She's got to clean up the mess downstairs. You saw your father, didn't you? And Jakob? His voice is firm and honest. I look up into his deep dark eyes. For me, Nico brings only truth. He holds my shoulder, like I'm a friend he's trying to comfort. From his touch, my heartbeat slows. They're dead now, but don't worry. I will find and kill the Serbs who got away. You have my word. He pauses, eyes narrowing into slits. I'll never let them get away with this. His voice is harder than I've ever heard it. A knock at the door. I freeze. But it's only my mother entering with a cup in her hands. Mint leaves float at the top, sugar already melted. She leaves it on my bedside table, and Nico gestures for her to leave. I should say I want my mama, but I don't. He's all I need. He stands, and I whisper beg, Don't leave me. The cup looks like a toy in his hands. I will not leave your side. Not yet. I sit up, my legs still beneath the covers. Gazing at him, not breathing, I watch as he gently blows the steam. He lifts the cup to my lips, and I slowly drink. It's hot and sweet. When it's finished, he leaves the bed to place it on the small table by my window. How can the sun be shining when my father is dead? I move inside my covers, feeling physically comatose from my internal pain. My feelings and thoughts are scattered like dead bodies in the streets. Life's leftovers for anyone to poach. He sets himself next to me, the sheet a division between us. We're separate, but I can feel his body heat. He hugs me to his broad chest. I nestle my head beneath his chin as his hands move around my body like a vice. I like when he holds me like this. There's no way I can move, but why would I want to? He's hard, but nothing can hurt me when I'm in here. Slowly, I feel myself settling into safety. The warm tea has coated my stomach, softening the pain. I try to calm my body, remembering yesterday. Nico chased me around the house and threw me over his shoulder and tickled me until tears dripped down my face. Before dinner, he told me about democracy. We reviewed my English words: bed, chair, pajamas, slippers, toothbrush. Nico is sort of like my father, but not. He's kind of like a brother or a teacher, but not that either. He's the man I love. Some girls know their favorite color. I know the man I will marry one day. Still, he's always out of reach, too old, too handsome, too powerful. But one day I won't be a child anymore, and I'll show him I'm worthy to be by his side as his queen. Mother tells me, when I was born, he came with his father to bring some fruit to celebrate my birth. I had been crying, seemingly inconsolable, and he asked to hold me. The moment I went into his arms, I calmed. "She likes you," his father said. After his family was killed by Serb forces, he came around to help my father with the KLA. He whispers, "You were so brave, Elira." He kisses the top of my hair, still damp. It reaches down my back in black waves. Sometimes it gets knotted at the bottom, but I normally keep it in one long braid. Mother forgot to fix it after my bath. Anxiety returns to my chest. I lift my face so I can see Nico's eyes. They're darker than night. "My hair," I start. "It's always braided when I rest. Mama forgot." "Sit up. I used to do this for Elsa when she was small." He separates my hair into 3 sections and begins to braid. When he's done, I lie back down, feeling better. His skin is tanned from spending days in the hot sun. My white hands are pale compared to his. I trace the planes and angles of his face, memorizing his hard-looking, prominent cheekbones and straight black hair. I should feel shy to touch him in this way, but I don't. He never gave me permission to, but I have it. If I didn't, he would stop me. Nico isn't a man who ever lets things happen without his permission. Just last week, Zamir didn't follow Nico's protocol when finding a Serb officer on the street. Nico had him beaten, threatening to never let him near the KLA again. Some people were scared, saying Nico shouldn't hurt one of our own. Others said Nico did right. He can't have a team who doesn't listen to their commander. Plus, Zamir's actions could have resulted in many people's deaths. He shuts his eyes, a smirk filling his lips as I draw. Women always giggle and smile around Nico, even when he doesn't try to make them laugh. Especially Barda. Her huge breasts are always pulling against her shirt, and she tries to stay outside to get bronze on her face, even though she should be helping in the kitchen. She talks about Nico, how big he is and how good he is in bed. But I don't see why that's special. Everyone can see how big he is. And of course he's good in bed. Aren't we all good when we sleep? So why does she say it like it's a secret? A few weeks ago, me and Barda were rolling out dough for the lunch pies. I asked her, "Why do you laugh when Nico is near?" Why does your voice get squeaky like a mouse in the attic when he speaks with you? But she just rolled her eyes and told me I couldn't understand. Yet, Nico is the kind of man who doesn't just talk about change. He makes change, she said. Just last week he organized 10 of our men against 50 Serbian police, and Nico won. He leads like no one else. He's going to be the one to win our independence. I can feel it. Is he nice to you? My hands balled into fists as I silently prayed the answer was no. No. She shook her head and smiled as though my question were silly. Nico is a warrior. He fears no man on this earth. He is not the eldest, and yet he has earned the greatest respect because of the battles he's won on our streets. He has no great family lineage, but he has the confidence of a king. A man like Nico will never be nice, but that doesn't mean he isn't good. In other ways. She winked. Before I could respond that Nico was nice to me, she kissed my cheek and walked away. For days I've thought about what I could say to her. I still haven't had the chance. I'm not sure I ever will. Without Papa, nothing can be the same. From my chest, the words, "I'm not safe here anymore," bubble out from my mouth. His eyes flit open. "You'll always be safe. I swear it. And my oath is my bond, Aira." What if those men come back for me? The reality of this hits me, and panic begins to build. They can't. Those men are now in hell, where they belong. When you move into the afterlife, there is no return, and the ones who ran, I will find. A sneer mars his face. Into his chest I ask, what if their children come for me? My heart beats faster. Revenge is the natural order. I'll kill them too. He shifts so he can hold me closer. Don't you know? I will kill anyone who tries to hurt you. Uh-huh. I nod quickly, eyes wide. He's scary right now, eyes with such undisguised hatred and maliciousness that, for a moment, my voice fails me. This is the Nico men fear. I want to give myself up to crying convulsively, but Nico's strength holds my emotions up like a pillar. I won't cry, not in front of him. Okay, I swallow hard, maintaining eye contact. He holds the back of my head, as though to make sure I listen intently. You are allowed to grieve for your father, and you should. You are allowed to be afraid, too. Giving yourself time to hurt will make you resilient. If you don't, the pain will eat at you and weaken you. When mourning is over, you must emerge to be the strong girl I know you to be. How do you know I'm strong? I want reassurance. I want him to tell me who I am and what I'll be because his word is everything. What happened last week when you took the pie from the oven and burned yourself? I rinsed my arm with cold water and put cream on it. I watched how you dealt with the pain. Other girls or boys would scream or cry. Not you. It was painful, but I didn't want to cause trouble or add to my mother's load. I burned my arm badly, but I know it will heal. And when you saw Alex's mother fallen, with a wound in the street, what did you do? I got help. Right. You saw she needed aid, knew you couldn't bring her in yourself, and got someone strong to lift her. That's exactly right. Smart and intelligent people see a problem and do not cower. They find an answer. That's what you have always done. You are different from other girls, Aira. Better. I saw it from the moment you were born. He smiles, tapping my head. But if you want to grow your strength, you'll make sure to deal with all problems as they come. Understand? I'm suddenly breathless. The loss of my papa, our home's protector, begins to leak into my consciousness. I can't go downstairs. Papa is gone now. What will we do? The enormity of his death has only slightly touched the surface of my mind. It's too much for me to handle. I want to hide, scream, and cry. Instead, I sit frozen and still. His isn't the first death I've seen, but it's the first one that will permanently change my life. He exhales, mood softening. Your father is in heaven now.
but you will continue with your mother and Agran. I see big things in your future."
His voice is resolute. Big things?
Yes.
He shifts his body, tucking an arm behind his head.
"Remember what I told you about America?"
In the English he taught me, I tell him, America is free and Big Mac, Hamburg, and gold in street. He lets out a small laugh.
"That's right. It's time to get you there. Now that your father is no longer alive, I don't want you staying in Kosovo."
"But how? Isn't it hard to get into America?"
"Yes, but I know someone who will bring you there. I wanted you to leave sooner, but your mother wouldn't leave without your father."
"And what about you?" Worry fills my chest. I've heard of the country, but I can barely imagine the things I've heard.
"My place is here. I must finish this war."
My pillow turns damp with tears. Am I crying?
"Just sleep now. I will take care of everything."
My feet are cold. I crouch my legs up. Nico stands, taking another blanket from my closet. He covers me. My voice shivers. "I'm scared, Nico." Heat seeps into my body quickly, but I still shiver like it's 10 below. He smooths the hair from my forehead.
"A rose is afraid to open its petals until light coaxes it open."
"Your light," I whisper, my body growing heavier by the second. It's only moments more before I fall off to sleep. The next 3 days, I refuse to leave my closet. I hide behind my hanging clothes with my back against the hard wall. Nico tells Mama it's okay to let me sit until I'm ready to come out. But she is worried. Doesn't she understand I cannot be seen? Those men know where we live. They will come back. Each day Nico swears I am safe, but doesn't force me out. Instead, he tells me to sit and cry until I'm ready to emerge. He's giving me 1 week. Nico knocks 3 times before entering the closet. Our secret code. Sweat beads between his brows. I want to put my nose into his shirt and take in more of him. He's fresh dirt, grass, and soap. His scent makes me a good kind of dizzy.
"How are you, kid?"
He squats low, bringing his large hands together. "I'm hungry," I whisper, slightly embarrassed. Turns out, I'd rather be safe than full. He grunts in annoyance.
"Agran was supposed to come up an hour ago. Did he not?"
Not wanting to get my brother in trouble, I only shrug. He must be busy. He shuts his eyes in annoyance.
"Your brother needs to learn to follow orders. He has many personalities, that Agran. You never know who you'll get."
Standing wordlessly, he leaves. I try not to cry at his hasty departure. Nico returns, knocking again before opening the door. I'm sure it annoys him, but he does it anyway. My eyes widen in surprise as he steps in with a plate full of food.
Fried potatoes and sour cream, green tomatoes and fresh bread, flia, spinach pie.
Piece by piece, like I am one of the baby lambs on our farm, he feeds me. "How did you find this?" I chew. He doesn't answer but lifts more for me to take. "Is this yours?" I swallow, but the food sits like a lump in my throat. Agran forgot to save me food, and Nico gave me his to eat. My eyes fill with tears. "No, you need this. I don't."
"Shh. When you're full, I'm satisfied."
"Are you going to marry me when I'm older?" It's my secret wish, not so secret anymore. He laughs and pats my head.
"We'll see, kid. We have a long time before thoughts of that."
I flush, embarrassed. Nico carries me into the white bathroom and stands by the door so I can wash up and use the toilet before placing me back inside my closet, nestled into fresh-smelling clothes. That night, I sleep deeply. "Alira, you cannot stay in here anymore." Mama is here, on her knees, trying to coax me out. I tell her, "Only Nico." "Nico is training the men, my sweet pea. Talk to me. Tell me. Open your heart." "I miss Papa," I finally wail. The moment I say it, it's as though a dam is broken. I cry harder than I thought possible, shaking in her arms. Clutching me against her chest, she says, "Yes, as do I. But this is the price we must pay. There are things in this world larger than we are. There will be time to mourn for him, but not yet." "I was going to die," I stutter out. "He was going to shoot me." "You were. God has other plans for you, it seems. Now, come out. Let me feed you at the kitchen table. The sunlight will be good." Holding hands, we trek downstairs. The house is quiet and creaky. The sun is barely up, and the men haven't arrived to eat. I sit on the wooden chair with my feet curled into my chest. She gives me 2 boiled eggs, fresh bread with butter. I eat hungrily, faster, faster before they come. Mama sits beside me. "Aira, I know how much you love Nico, but I worry for you. He is a man, and you're still a child." "So?" My voice is loud and defensive. I can feel the heat crawling into my face. "Don't speak. Just listen." Her words are firm. "When you were born, you wouldn't stop crying. Nico came over, and he held me and I stopped my tears. I know this story." I sulk. "Nico has always had a soft spot for you, a place he has for no one else. But I do not want you to become attached to him. He is dangerous. He is always in the front line of all things. You must keep some distance between the two of you." "Why?" I demand. "Because you are a good girl, a smart girl. A man like Nico isn't for you, not now and not later. You will grow up and find a man worthy. A doctor, maybe, not a man with violence in his veins. He's a man who likes power. He's grown accustomed to it, it seems." Her eyes cloud. I shake my head, refusing to listen. "Nico isn't violent with me." "Listen to me, Aira. The things he has done, I cannot repeat. I don't like him being near you, but what choice do I have, now that Father and Jakob are gone? What he says goes, but if you create some space—" "You can't make him stay away!" I yell, my voice shaking. "No, I can't," she says admittedly. "But I want you to pull away. Don't look at him with adoration. Don't allow him in your room. It isn't appropriate anymore," she pleads. "You'll be 11 soon, too old to have a man who is not your brother or father alone with you." Tears fill her eyes at the mention of Papa. She opens and closes her mouth as though there is more to say, but nothing comes out. Her words are gone. She lifts my plate in her hands and walks to the sink. Her back shakes as she turns on the water, head dropping low. Without another word, I run upstairs and into my closet. Shutting the door, I sit down in the corner. They can't find me here. In the middle of the night, I'm awoken. It's Nico. "Come on, kid. Time to go to America." "Huh?" I'm confused, mouth dry. "Yes. You will go with your mom and brother by horseback now to Montenegro. From there, someone will bring you to a place called Pennsylvania. You'll be safe there." "I can't leave!" I scream, punching his hard, muscled chest as he drags me out. He covers my mouth with his heavy hand. "You must. The arrangements came together very fast. I know it's short notice, but it's the safest way." He lifts me over his massive shoulder and takes me downstairs. I want to yell, but fear has paralyzed my voice once again. He whispers, "Don't be afraid. Soon, you will be free." "When will I see you?" I plead. Agran holds me tightly, keeping me away from Nico. "I want to stay." "One day, we will meet again. I swear it." My brother clutches me atop his horse, and we're off. 1. Present day. Pulling up the family expenses sheet from my desktop computer, I deduct $50 for the pain meds and a week of wages due to Mom's sciatica. These setbacks suck. I drop my head into my hands, leaning my elbows on my wooden desk. I need a miracle. Should I look for a different job? The problem is, Mr. Weber pays me under the table in cash so that I can avoid taxes. Sure, it's shady, but I'm desperate. And working as a waitress is flexible work. Other restaurants might give me a few extra dollars an hour, but that money, which would be paid on the books, would go to taxes Mom and I can't afford. A knock on my window and I freeze. Turning my head toward the sound, I notice a dark head lurking behind glass. If I were in a movie, I'd shriek. No doubt the intruder is a dumbass college kid trying to scare a town resident, nicknamed Townie by the students at Green University. We live off Green's campus, and the area is constantly patrolled by police, for good reason. The difference between the people who live in this town and the college students who study here is incredibly wide. To simplify, the students see us as impoverished rats, and we see them as entitled assholes. The fact that I'm both student and resident has made things pretty awkward on occasion. It goes something like this. Typical college kid. The streets are so dirty and dangerous. Someone needs to do something about the townie problem here. Me. Fuck you. It wasn't always this bad between us. But since the plant shut down and people lost their jobs, the area has continued to disintegrate while the school thrives. It's an odd blend of ignoring each other's existence, as we're in completely different orbits, and outright animosity and hatred. Hence this dipshit who thinks he can break into my home to scare me. The torture gets worse when the fraternities have freshman pledges. They always make them torment us for fun. Last year, they threw water balloons on any town people they saw walking. My mother had just gotten her hair done when a red balloon came crashing over her head. Another knock against my glass, and I stand tall, taking a blue ballpoint pen from my drawer and gripping it in my right hand. I doubt I'm strong enough to stab him, but hopefully it'll be enough to scare the shit out of him. I laugh darkly. Oh, sorry, officer. I thought he was trying to break in. How was I supposed to know he was an innocent college kid? Flipping on the light by my desk, I'm ready. Entitled asshole, I grumble, smirking. I hope I scare him so badly that he falls off the sill. Getting closer, I pull up the window with my left hand, pen raised in my right, high and ready to... Oh, shit. I drop the pen and slide the glass all the way up. A gran climbs through head first. My hands shake in relief that it's him. I haven't seen my brother in 3 months, his whereabouts essentially unknown, despite hundreds of attempts to locate him. My mother and I begged him to stay home until he saved enough money to rent his own place. But he claimed he'd found a roommate and an apartment and a big new job. Bigger things are calling me, he said. His cheeks are flushed, and his brown hair is ratty and long. He's wearing a dark t-shirt in dirty denim, complete with holes. I try not to cringe from his scent. Unclean. I can't even say hello. All my words are stuck in the back of my throat, clogging all airways. I'm in shock at the state he's in. Big job? Bigger things? I don't think so. I swallow, my mouth desert dry. His first words are, Alira, I need you. Lifting his shaking hands in prayer, his mouth gapes open. So glad you're home. You know how it is. Shit has been crazy, but needed to see you. His words are a flood. Where have you been? I accusingly look him up and down. Mom is poisoning you against me now? Is that it? 6 feet of man comes closer, body language suddenly aggressive, his breath sour, turns my stomach. Hands which used to help me cook ramen noodles and make peanut butter sandwiches are now balled into furious fists. Eyes which used to look at me with love and adoration are now red-rimmed. I step backward, naked feet shuffling against worn gray carpeting. My head tells me this feeling of, he's going to hurt me, isn't possible. But my hands lift in front of my chest, acting out of an innate sense of preservation. A large man moves aggressively toward you. You step back. Unnatural space comes between us. My brain says, Agran has never gotten violent. Not with you. Still, fear slinks itself into my legs. If he notices my retreat, He doesn't say. I steel my nerves and open my lips. Are you kidding me, Agran? Coming into my bedroom like some robber, looking dirty and deranged. I want to ask him if he's on drugs right now, but I'm worried that would only incite him. Why don't you take a hot shower? I'll get you something to eat and then we'll talk. I've got some chicken from last night, roasted in the oven. How you like? My voice sounds strong and in control, but deep down, I'm scared to death. It's Agran, but a version of him I can't stand to see. He's more animal right now than man. I don't look pretty enough for you? He chuckles darkly. P.S. You look like shit yourself. His voice is nasty, dropping onto my bed like it's his own, which, technically, it once was. He crosses his feet and places his hands behind his head. I can't help but notice that even his sneakers are ravaged with holes and caked with dirt. Coming to the United States for a chance at survival and a life of peace, Mom sacrificed every day, and still does, to give us a shot at the American dream. She worked at the factory in 12-hour shifts, managing to cook and clean when she came home. Our clothes were always fresh, stomachs never empty, and our circumstances were stable. Life wasn't luxurious, but it was good, and compared to what had happened to our family who stayed back in Kosovo, America was essentially heaven. Agran lies with his head back, staring at the ceiling. Dark circles rim his green eyes in a mean shade of purple. He's in a nasty and broody mood, and if Mom saw the state he's in, she'd be mortified. All her hard work to give him better, more. We spent the last few months in emotional agony, not knowing where he was, and then to find him, wasted. I move toward my bedroom door, locking it from the inside. Mom doesn't need to see him this way. He laughs after hearing the click. You don't think Mama wants to see me? Big, strong man I've turned out to be? He lifts a brow, his voice full of cynicism. We've always been able to read each other easily. Too easily. I let out a sarcastic laugh. You mean, see you looking so strong, clean, and healthy? She'd be thrilled. It only takes a second for my emotions to bend to anger. Agran made shitty choices, and he has to deal with the result. This is real life, not a fairy tale where boy goes out on his own only to become a millionaire through luck. And he has the audacity to come into this house and insult me? Put his dirty feet on the bed I clean and wash religiously twice a week? Screw him. Well, let's see. I tap my foot on the floor. Our mom breaks her back at her cleaning job. Instead of following in her footsteps, which would clearly help us in the short term, I'm at Green, praying that when I graduate, I can get a higher-paying job to get us out of this house we live in and pay off my college debt. School takes roughly 30 hours a week between classes I need to attend and studying, and the rest of my time is spent working as a waitress, serving peers who think that because they've got money to spend and I don't, I'm not worth much. So, excuse me for not getting my hair done for you in advance with all the extra cash and time I've got lying around. I grit my teeth. He sits up, square face dripping with guilt, before contorting to anger. Fuck that factory for closing and ruining all our lives. He stands up, placing his hands against my white wall and pushing against it. Look, he exclaims, spinning back toward me. I know how hard you guys work. He opens his large hands to me. I've got some big ideas. Once I get out of this predicament I'm in, I'm going to start a business. I've got the whole plan up here. He taps his temple. Then you'll never have to work again. Or Mom. He pauses and smirks, like he's about to give me a huge piece of information. Nico is here now. He left the UK and now lives in Manhattan, full time. A full tremor racks my body. Last I heard, Nico was the boss of the Mafia Shqiptare. Are you insane? Agran growls. Have some respect. Nico got us out of Kosovo, and he's a very, very powerful man. He's since grown out of Kosovo and Greater Albania. Agran's chest puffs up with pride. Nico not only survived the war,
but he also now controls the underground in several countries. Do me a favor, and don't tell me more. The Mafia Shqiptare is dangerous as all hell. They make the Italian families look like child's play. That much I know is true. There's nothing else I need or want to know. I put my hands on my hips, finished with this conversation. Still, my heart pounds. Nico is here. Nico. His name ricochets off my insides, leaving an acidic burn in its wake. I always thought Nico would contact me. He was everything to me back in Kosovo, but after I left, he deleted me from his life. Not a visit, no phone calls, not even a measly letter after the hundreds I sent him. Through small bits of gossip through my mother and aunt in Albania, I understood that Nico left to Albania after Kosovo was freed. Using his connections from the Kosovo Liberation Army, he grew the Albanian Mafia, also known as the Mafia Shqiptare. While I was still in high school, I heard he was expanding the cocaine trade in the UK. I wanted so badly to ask my mom and aunt for more details, but I was nervous. What if my mother figured out how I felt about him after all these years? Would she shout? Tell me I'd no business even thinking of a man with that much dangerous power? The thought that my mother would somehow figure out my feelings for him was impossible. So, I did what any teenage girl does when nursing a crush that needed to be kept secret from her family. I never asked about his whereabouts while secretly dreaming of him at night. I dreamed of him so often that his face became hazy, like a photograph I touched too many times. All of his features are now blurred, but I remember the way he made me feel, cherished beyond words. Before high school graduation, I faced the truth. What I felt for Nico was one-sided. I was a child when I knew him, my memories likely blown up. I was simply a sweet baby for him to coddle in the midst of war. It was time for me to let him go. My brother leans against the window, a hand-rolled cigarette between his fingers. He lights up with a black Zippo, and his brows knit thoughtfully as he exhales into the night. Nico was always powerful, but he was young when we knew him. Today, he's a man with control over everyone and everything. I shake my head, swallowing hard. Just last week, I saw an article in the paper claiming they seized control of the entire UK drug trade. Agran's face is steel. Yes, Aira. He's willing to do whatever it takes, as am I. Don't talk that way, I chide, clenching my fists. Just stop and think, Agran. That life isn't for us. We aren't in the middle of war anymore. You don't have to be part of an army. He snarls. That life is me. He stands and begins to pace. In my bedroom, he's like a tiger in a cage. He always said the house and the life we lived was too small for him. I still wish with all my heart he'd find a way to settle into something stable. I know that you're both killing yourselves, and I hate it, he yells, slamming his hands down on my desk. So just stop this. My words come out like a plea. Come home. Get yourself straightened out. Get a job and go to school like I am. Forget Nico. One day... He raises his hand and drops it, cutting the air. No, he barks. School isn't for me. What? To be a cog in the bullshit American dream machine that tells you, step inside, friends. All you've got to do is put in the hard work, and then you'll step out a millionaire? In this world, there's only one way for people like us to go. Down. Unless we find a way to make our own rules. Rules that work for who we are. Yes, I'm American, but I'm also not American. We saw things and did things that changed the fabric of our insides. He stresses the word, our, as though we are one and the same. Don't lump me in with you. I'm not like you, I huff, praying that my words will become truth. Aira. He laughs. You and I are exactly the same. We're on different paths, but I have no doubt that eventually you'll be led to my side. You aren't like these American kids we know. How could you be after the things you've seen and done? Who are you? I scream. It's like I don't even know who... You know me, and I know me. He stands up to his full height, but his body language moves away from threatening. The question is, do you know you? I open and close my mouth. I should continue arguing with him, tell him that there's no way I'm going to that side. Mama didn't leave Kosovo to have her children back in a web of underground dealings. He blows air through his nose. I know that I look like shit. I hate it too, but I'm on my way up. I stare into his light green eyes, the same as mine. Agran was always smart, smarter than the types he's gotten mixed up with. I still have faith in his goodness, even though I shouldn't. He's given me no reason to believe in him. And yet, I do. He and I are siblings by blood. Even without that, we have experiences that tie us. Our escape from Kosovo, immigration to America and seeking asylum, a new school system, learning English. We were all the other had as we adjusted to the American way. I owe some people, he continues, voice stronger. And if I don't get some cash, his voice cuts off. But I know what he's implying. He's here for money. We're barely making ends meet as it is. You can't just come and take. His breaths turn staccato. He's desperate. And it's written. I'd do it for you. You know this. If you needed something, I'd go to hell and back to make it happen. I just need a little to tide me over, just for a bit, and then I'll get my shit together. Nico and I have a meeting coming up, and I've got a plan. But I can't die before that day. I stomp my foot on the ground. I worked hard to make this money, and we need it, damn it. He steps closer. I can see his temper flaring up, like the tick of a clock before a grenade explodes, but then he breathes in deeply, in and out, as though to calm himself. Things are going to get better. I swear, I've got plans. Big ones. You'll see. Do me this solid, and I'll pay you back tenfold. Once I link up with Nico, I counter. How do you even know Nico will bring you in? Of course he will. Why not? I will pledge allegiance to him. Our father was the founder of the KLA. No, Agran. Don't, I plead. But his mind is made. My stomach drops low, like heavy cement has been poured inside. He sees the change in me and hugs me close. I love you, Aira. I know shit hasn't been good, but I'm going to make it up to you. And Mom. I feel a prick come to my eyes. I swallow saliva, wanting to burst into tears. They don't fall but sit over my pupils like a sheer curtain. I don't want to give him this money, but what choice do I have? Mafia future aside, he owes someone. In a whisper, he finally asks, "Do you have cash?" He requests money in the same way he used to ask if I had his toy, if I saw his sneakers before heading out to a basketball game in the park, if I needed help with my math homework. I plead, "Can't you just move back in with us?" It's a last-ditch effort, but I'm not above begging at this point. I'll take care of you while we figure things out. I can't leave this life behind. I've made promises, and I'm close to so much more. There's no turning back. Just a few more months, and then my new path is going to open. You'll see. His eyes shine, and I see him, my brother, filled with hope. I just wish his plan weren't a dark one. I step into my small closet and pull out the silver lockbox I keep behind my heavy winter sweaters. I fiddle with the code, Agran's birthday, and it opens with a pop. Inside this small box rests my meager savings. Each week for the last 101 weeks, I put $5 in here. Everything else I make goes straight into household expenses, or textbooks, and gas. There's $505 in cash, saved for a rainy day. I swallow hard, fisting the money I worked for. "Aira," he loudly whispers, hurrying me. The money feels soft in my hands. He moves behind me. "Don't worry. I'll be paying you back." Hope blazes in the eyes we share, reminding me that Agran wouldn't lie. He'll pay me back. On an exhale, I give it to him. My hands shake as the bills disappear into the back pocket of his dirty jeans. Hurriedly, he says, "I promise. Tenfold." He lifts the window back up and leaves into the night. 2. 1 month later. Under the bright utility lights of the Express-Yourself diner, I move my beige dish rag in circles, rubbing the linoleum in a semi-trance as Eddie Vedder croons on the sound system. "Earth to Alira," Natalia calls from across the counter. I lift my head. Her 36 double Ds pour out of the white uniform all of us waitresses are forced to wear. She's got the kind of body that turns even the most conservative outfit into something lascivious. Not that this uniform is conservative by any means. Actually, it's so thin and tight that it's essentially a cheap Halloween costume. Now that I've paused cleaning, a wave of self-pity so strong washes over me. My chest, tightening like bowstrings, has me unable to take a solid breath. I grip the rag so hard, my forearm shakes. Mom's sciatica is acting up again, and I know in my gut that it's become unmanageable. My savings is gone, and Agran hasn't been in touch to pay me back. And then Natalia is next to me, placing a soft hand over mine and stilling my movements. My gut wants to scream, "Don't touch me. If I stop moving, I'll have to think." I bite my tongue before exhaling slowly through my mouth, attempting to regain control. "What is it?" Her words are whispered, face angled down toward mine. Turning, I press my feet into the floor, doing my best not to drop into her arms and cry. "Leave me alone. Mind your own fucking business. Get out of my face." But then she blinks, her soul transparent through her eyes. She's sad for me, and I feel like an asshole for wanting to yell. Natalia is the silver lining in my life, the best friend it took me 19 years to meet. Like me, she's in her 4th year at Green University. She's working part-time through school to make some extra cash. From the first day I worked here, she was the one who took me under her wing. Her friendship might be only a few years old, but from the moment we met, we clicked. Our connection runs deep. Natalia is the last person on Earth I want to alienate. Agran came over last month and looked worse than I've ever seen him, asking for money. I pause, gathering my bearings. I gave it to him, of course, and my mom's back problems are getting worse. I have a feeling she'll need surgery. It's so bad that she can't work, and we've got no financial cushion. Seriously, if things don't start looking up, I might have to cut back on classroom hours so I can work more. She opens her mouth to speak, but I beat her to it. I know I swore I wouldn't help him after he initially left, but the reality is, I can't say no. He's my brother. I can't hide the pain in my voice. I know he's taking advantage of me, but I also feel like there are no other options. Familial duty is greater than anything else, even if it means me getting hurt. You shouldn't help him if it means hurting yourself. My brother is a part of me. I touch the center of my chest. Helping him is the same thing as helping myself. I know it's difficult to understand, but it's what it is. I lick my lips and go back to buffing the counter. "Has your mom gotten a scan?" Her voice is softer. "She's refusing." I shrug. "Keep saying she's okay and just needs a few more days to rest." "Did you tell Agran?" She bites her thin bottom lip. "There wasn't time. He came through my window like a burglar, looking like shit and smelling worse. I gave him money, and he left." I continue to clean, sweat trickling between my breasts and beading around my hairline. I probably look like hell. Mascara fallen below my eyes and mixing with my cheap drugstore foundation. "Do you think it's drugs? Because Jim used to act that way with me too, and he had a terrible drug Can we not talk about this anymore?" I switch my motion to counterclockwise, and a lock of hair frees itself from my pony, brushing against my eyes. I'd stop to fix it, but what difference does it make now? Again, her hand moves to mine, stilling my movements. Maybe it's bad timing to mention this, but we're going out tonight. I pause quickly enough to see her smile has turned mischievous. "Out?" I shake my head, immediately backing off. "No way. I'm going to have to take on an extra shift from 6 to 9, and a new band, Heretic Pope, is playing at Alpha Sig," she interrupts, trying not to squeal in delight. As a dual major in music and journalism, Natalia always has her ear to the ground for new bands. They have a phenomenal sound. Listen to them on YouTube. They've already got over 1 million views for their song, Verona Sweat. She's giddy with excitement, practically bouncing on her toes. Only Natalia can fly between emotions this quickly. And Jack Gallagher has one of the most unique voices you'll ever hear. I've heard he's hot as all hell. I've never seen him, but I'm dying to, she claps. I know you're miserable, but what better way to let out steam than to hear someone new? Plus, it's our last year at school. We have to make each night count. I can feel the crease between my brows deepening. The only part of her diatribe that's echoing in my ears is that stupid frat. Alpha Sig? You know I hate those guys, and they hate me back. 2 months ago, a group of them came into the diner. Seeing me in my uniform gave Rome, the fraternity president, the idea that I was for sale. Unfortunately for him, I don't take too kindly to men thinking my ass is up for grabs. Maybe I shouldn't have spilled his leftover fries and ketchup onto the front of his khakis. Oh, who am I kidding? I'd do it over again if I could. Pig. Yeah, well, she smiles. Things change. Janice gave Rome a blowjob, so they're welcoming us over tonight with open arms. So the plan is, you finish work at 9, go home and change, then I'll swing by and pick you up, and we'll head to Alpha Sig. Wait, I lift my hand up. Welcome us with open arms? Janice and Rome? How the hell did this happen? My voice sounds annoyed and angry. Still, I'm curious. All 3 of us go to Green University together, but we don't hang out with the Greek scene. They're mostly entitled assholes who, for some unknown reason, believe they've got dicks made of gold. Apparently they met in the tattoo parlor waiting room together at Rock Inc. Wait, Janice got a tat? My day seems to be full of surprises. Natalia nods as though this isn't news. Remember she wanted a rose on her ass? I let out a snort, nodding. Oh, yeah. 2 weeks ago, Janice told us the reasons a black rose on her right butt cheek was a great idea. Something about a deeper meaning and a hidden spot. I thought she was joking around, but apparently she was dead serious. This would only happen to Janice, right? Natalia is exasperated, dropping a hand on her curvy hip. The girl opens her damn eyes in the morning and things just happen to her. If I went to get a rose tatted on my ass, I'd probably end up with hepatitis. But Janice goes, gets her tat, which looks great, by the way, and gives a blowjob, and boom, the door is open for us to see this new band. Bing, bing, bing. I try not to laugh out loud, pointing out the obvious, I add. And when those Alpha Sig guys see me, they're going to throw my ass out. You and your tiny ass will be totally protected, because we're with Janice, and Janice is with the president. You'd think she just solved world hunger with the way she's nodding. What type of music? I'm hoping they play something loud and hard. I've got lots of pent-up anger I'd like to expel. They're a mix of metal and grunge, but they're sexier, deeper, and totally new. Maybe a little Dave Matthews meets Nirvana. Really? I exclaim, my excitement obvious. She's got that look of winning in her eyes. Wait, are you just saying that because you know I love those bands? Why can't you just be positive for once in your damn life? She laughs, bothering me about the fact that I'm not exactly Ms. Sunshine. I raise my brows, still not completely believing her. She puts a hand on her hip. Ugh! You'll see when you come tonight. It's that bone-deep, soulful lyrics, but then, boom, the crash. She claps her hands together, excitement thrumming. I don't think I've ever seen her this excited. I try not to show it, but I'm excited too. Sure, I'm underwater in more ways than one, but a night out won't change anything. I exhale and her smile grows. She won. Will the crowd be Greek life? I pray to God it won't be. The guys, yeah, because it's their house. But I can't imagine any Alpha Phi girls wanting to listen. Natalia typically prefers a dark crowd that's kinky and outlaw and all fuck you world, with ripped clothes and piercings and heavy tats. Her parents are fancy lawyers in New York City, and she despises them. She'd be lying if she denied the fact that one of the reasons she likes looking different is because it tortures their sensibilities. Still, she's gorgeous, no matter how much she tries to alter herself.